Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War Warhammer 2 Quick Match gameplay. This time around we are playing on the Plains of the Dead as the Dark Elves against the Vampire, or against the Tomb Kings. I can't even talk. Regardless, I've still been running around with Hellebron. Good old Hellebroken, ever since she got her blade sort of fixed and nerfed. I've been having a lot of fun just trying her out, and I've been trying to get more games in with her, because before I felt like it was basically really cheap, and I didn't really want to be playing Hellebron without one of her items and not being able to test it out. So finally we can, and here we do have her on a horse this time around, of course, because we are against Tomb Kings. I didn't want to risk bringing her on a big old cauldron. Now granted, she does get pretty good physical resist, especially if you got her bodyguard unit, and she does have pretty good magic resist and all that sort of stuff, but nonetheless, shooting can bring her down, and I did want to figure, on a horse she'll be a little more survivable. Alongside that, we do have a Sorceress of Fire coming in with the Darkstar Cloak for that extra Winds of Magic, as well as a Burning Head, really good for clearing up Chaff Infantry, Flaming Sword of Ruin, as well as Cascading Fire Cloak. So a decent selection of spells there, just to clear out whatever my opponent might bring on the front line. In the front, we do have a very cheap mix. 4 units of Black Ark Corsairs, which are honestly a very, very cost-efficient choice in this matchup. They'll crash through everything. They even trade pretty well with Tomb Guard. I don't think they win, but they'll do really well. And then 2 Sisters of Slaughter, who will literally be anything the Tomb Kings could put up against you from an infantry perspective. The Sisters did get nerfed. They did lose, I think, 2 melee attack and like 1 or 2 AP damage. And of course, most importantly, they did lose 15% of their shield, which I think is a good choice. It's definitely going to enhance their counters without making them useless. So I think all pretty good nerfs, but we'll see how they do here. And then we do have a Charybdis here, so providing some anti-large armor piercing. This thing is an absolute beastie, but here it's going to be faced up with a lot of shooting. So we'll see how it performs, because it doesn't have that regen that the Hydra possesses. And it's only got 35% ward save with Scaly Skin, so honestly, with its only 50 armor, it will get melted probably pretty badly by archers. On the periphery, to deal with those annoying archers, we do have the Slashes Harvesters, Doomfire Warlocks on one end. These guys do have Word of Pain and the Soul Stealer. On the other end, with Soul Blight, as well as the Lesser Doombolt, a normal unit of Doomfire Warlocks. And we're going to be gap closing very quickly against my opponent's very Ushabti Greatbow heavy build. His front line, a bunch of dirt cheap Skeleton Spears, as well as 2 Tomb Guard, chevroned up a whole bunch. Not entirely sure why the Tomb Guard got chevroned up, but this dirt cheap line should not be able to hold too long, I'm hoping. They're backed by a single Tomb Scorpion here, who will be providing some AP, Terror, Anti-Large, or not Anti-Large, Anti-Infantry, all that sort of stuff. And a huge shooting mob. You can see the Chosen of the Gods and 3 Ushabti Greatbows already teeing off, and the poor Hydra is not, or the Charybdis is not having a good day at all, losing 1600 HP on that opening volley. I am trying to dodge a bit, but you can see the moment we straighten out even the tiniest amount, we're taking a pounding, and you can see we've already lost it's almost 3000 HP. So brutal stuff going down. But the front lines are meeting. And see my Doomfire Warlocks closing in. My opponent did bring a normal Tomb King here with nothing too fancy, just a ward save, and my will be done. A Lich Priest with Net and Foz Protection and the Nefarious Scrolls of Incantations. And then 3 units of Carrion, probably to deal with my shooting if I'd brought any. As it turns out, my opponent throws them into Slashes Harvesters to tie them down. He also does hit them with a Net of Mintok, not entirely sure why, but given they're already body blocked by the Carrion. Over in the meantime, you can see the Charybdis actually tearing into the Tomb Scorpion, doing a lot of damage in just a few strikes, but it's taking a huge pounding. I really can't afford to keep it in here, and so what we're going to do is we're actually going to pull through, and I'm going to go hunting for my opponent's backline troops. You can see I'm trying to get these Slashes Harvesters in there, doing quite a bit of damage to the Chosen of the Gods, and I'm trying to force path Hellebron through, but she's actually getting snagged on models with the horse, and she keeps turning around to fight, really bad. But she finally does break free, and she's going to charge into these Ushabti, where she will do a lot of damage. She hits like an absolute truck. You can see she immediately takes a model down there. And in the meantime, my Slashes Harvesters are going to hit these guys with the Soul Stealer, which will be healing them up while melting this unit. Charybdis also breaking free, going in against the Ushabti Greatbows, and it's going to start marching on them with absolute efficiency. All over the front line, you can see my opponent's army is essentially collapsing. We do still have the Sorceress of Fire here, who's kind of helping out, and you can see the Black Ark Corsairs completely melting the Tomb Guard with the help of some spells. You can see the Sisters of Slaughter, the Black Ark Corsairs just pushing through. I do cast the Lesser Doombolt, it misses, but you know what? Hellebron is on the pursuit. This poor Lich Priest does not stand a chance. On the periphery, you can see these poor Skeleton Spears just getting dumpstered. Tomb Guard hit with Bird of Pain, they're basically useless. Sisters of Slaughter are going to push into them and mop them up. And we're just pushing through. I'm pushing my Black Ark Corsairs into the Carrion. I'm pushing my Sisters of Slaughter and my Black Ark Corsairs to pursue these Ushabti, who are right now fleeing for dear life. from the Doomfire Warlocks, who don't really do that much damage. These guys do have 95 armor, but you know, we're getting a little bit of damage in there. You can see Crone Hellebron's ability proc there for a little bit, did 144 damage. But I'm trying to snipe out the Lich Priest. My opponent does cast a net of a Mintok, stopping my units dead in their tracks, and he's going to start turning around to shoot at my Charybdis, which is now down to about 3,000 HP. Regardless, you can see his Lord does actually get snagged here by the infantry, so he's not in for a good day. Sisters of Slaughter trade really well with just about anything if they get into an atrocious fight. You can see the Charybdis, is, although getting pounded by arrow fire, is just going to weather the storm and push onward. And at this point, with my opponent's army collapsing in the back, there's only this unit of Tomb Guard still fighting Sister of Slaughter. And over here, the Charybdis is about to jump on his Ushabti. My opponent is going to GG out after what was a pretty brutally quick game. So, as for the after battle screen, I do think with Hellebron, now it's important to keep in mind that she costs a lot of money. You might be thinking she's absolutely ridiculous. She's slaughtering lords and Ushabti great bows really easily, but at the same time she just costs 3,000 gold. But I do think she probably needs to be toned down a little bit. Right now, between her murder party, between her ridiculous damage output, between her pretty high ward saves, especially if she's on her cauldron, but even on foot and on a horse, she does have some decent ward saves there. She's got like solid physical resistance, and some magic resist. She's a really effective lord. I don't know. I don't know if she's too effective for her price. In my, I might not have enough experience with her yet, but she definitely feels really strong, and she's definitely at least competitive, but I would definitely consider her on the stronger end of lords. Definitely watch out for her. Try to snipe her out early if you can. I think that's definitely the way to go. As for the rest of the build, honestly, against Tomb Kings, I don't think it's particularly bad. We've got the Slaanishes Harvesters in case your opponent tries to kite you, in case your opponent, and the Doomfire Warlocks in case your opponent goes with a very heavy shooting build. You've got the Charybdis to deal with large armored, and then the rest of this will mop through enemy infantry. And honestly, although Crone Hellebron is not dedicated anti-large, she will tear through most large monsters as well, with her high AP and good weapon stat or good melee stats. Yeah, Blackheart Corsair, Sister of Slaughter, still very strong. I don't think the nerf. I do think the nerf was justified, and I do think it was in the right direction. I don't know if they're overpowered or still, or if they've been put in a decent spot by the nerfs, but definitely I think it was in the right direction. I think they're still very strong and definitely not over nerfed. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this build. Obviously with the Charybdis you have to be super wary of shooting, and I think this match showed it. My opponent didn't have the most efficient of shooting builds. He didn't have the greatest deployment, so I was able to get into his backline and shut down his shooting really quickly. But against an opponent who's a little more on top of his backline defense, the Charybdis I think will melt incredibly fast to archery, so you definitely have to be very, very wary of that. In any fight. Regardless, getting into my opponent Dip, I do think I actually fought him in another one of the recent matches. Regardless, a good game. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you found it entertaining and fun to watch. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. If you have any comments, any criticism, any questions, especially about the new patch or anything like that, or any suggestions, recommendations, be sure to post them and I'll respond as soon as I can. As usual, guys, I do appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Wyvern out.